Electric heating systems. In this presentation, we're going to look at some common forms of heating that use electricity as a entry into the HVAC discussion. In-floor heating, baseboard heating, and forced air heating are the most common forms of space heating. In-floor heating is a conductive resistive cable. It's run on the surface of the floor or just underneath finished tile, and it simply heats the floor. Uses a cable that looks somewhat like this, and prior to the thin layer of concrete being laid on top, it looks somewhat like this. You're essentially creating a toaster element underneath the floor. They're held in by small backing plates that are mounted to the floor below. And then a tile setter usually will use thin set to coat the top so that it is not accessible or any sort of possibility for it getting damaged. Usually they have a gigantic grin, as you see in the picture here. 62, 128, several 3 and 4 are of interest when we are installing in-floor heating, and that's due to the requirement of a wire to come up through the floor plate and up to where the thermostat is located. And this is important because the raceway needs to be present. We cannot simply run wires and have them just sort of loose in the wall and then come into the floor. Another type of heating assembly is called a ceiling or wall board or panel assembly. And these are far less common, but they use radiant heat to heat from the top down. They're not as efficient, but they are still utilized widely in different sectors of the industry. Appendix B of Section 62 and Table 67 give precise details on the dimensions and placement of these types of heating panel sets. Baseboard heaters, probably the most common of all type of heating apparatus. A conductive resistive cable is manufactured into an appliance, and as that wire heats, the air passively moves across the heating fins, and it heats the air in the room through convection. Best locations are always below windows, as this is going to be where the heat is lost highest in the room. And we try not to install receptacles over top of baseboard heaters, although there is nothing within the Canadian Electrical Code that forbids this practice. Baseboard heaters are typically controlled by a thermostat, and the thermostat shown here is of the 2-pole variety. We also have thermostats that can be integral or built into the actual baseboard itself, and that's what is shown here. Finally, forced air heating. We can use electricity to create heat and then blow air across these heating elements, and the warmed air can then be travel throughout the residence or the location through metal ducts. These ducts are then going to have air going out through registers to different locations and rooms throughout the home.